going to take a quick look at adding and subtracting polynomials. Now the first thing we want to take a look at here is what a polynomial is. Well, a polynomial is defined as an algebraic expression that contains terms with real number coefficients and positive whole number exponents on the variables. So here's an example of a polynomial, and I want to break this down to its different parts. So each of these parts that is separated by addition or subtraction, these are called terms. So this polynomial has 3 terms. When the polynomial is written in order with the powers going from largest to smallest, like this one is, then the first coefficient is called the leading coefficient. And when it's written in order like this, or even when it's not written in order, the highest power is known as the degree. And when it's all put together, this entire thing, this entire expression is known as a polynomial. So what we have here is a third degree polynomial that's made up of 3 terms, and it has a leading coefficient of 4. Now when we get into certain things like graphing, the degree and leading coefficient are going to show us some things about how those graphs are going to behave, but for right now the most important thing is to be able to write that out in order and identify those parts. So let's take a look at a couple of quick examples and a couple of strategies for adding and subtracting polynomials. Alright, so here's an example where we are adding 2 polynomials together, and the main reason I have these parentheses around here are just to show that these are 2 distinct polynomials. I'm adding this polynomial to this polynomial, and the answer that we're going to get from this is a brand new polynomial. Now the first way I want to show you how to add polynomials together, so whenever you see an addition sign between 2 polynomials, you're adding them together, is the vertical way. So I want you to think way back to when you were first learning to add and subtract just numbers. If you had a problem like this, 804 plus 51. Well, using this sort of lining it up in columns, this vertical method for addition, we would line everything up and then we would add down the columns. So here we'd have 4 plus 1 is 5, 0 plus 5 is 5, and 8 plus 0 is 8. So 804 plus 51 is 855. And that's what the vertical method does. Lines everything up in our ones column, our tens column, hundreds column, just adding everything together through those columns. Adding polynomials in the vertical way is done really the same way. I want to take this first polynomial, which is 2x to the third plus 4x squared. And I want to add this polynomial, 3x squared plus 4x plus 1. Now if we're going to line this up and add them vertically, we need all of their like terms to be lined up. So since this polynomial does not have an x to the third, but it does have a 3x squared, I'm going to line up the 3x squared directly underneath the 4x squared because those are like terms. And we have a 4x and a 1. So really, what we want to do is line up all the powers. And if it helps you, it might be a good idea to add in 0 terms wherever you have missing terms. Like this first polynomial did not have any x terms, so let's just say plus 0x. And it didn't have any constants, so let's just say plus 0. The second polynomial didn't have an x to the third term, so let's go ahead and throw in there a 0x to the third. So adding these 2 polynomials together, let's just add down these columns. So we have 2x to the third plus 0x to the third is 2x to the third. And 4x to the second plus 3x to the second is 7x to the second. 0x plus 4x is 4x, and 0 plus 1 is 1. So this polynomial, 2x to the third plus 7x squared plus 4x plus 1, that is the sum of these 2 polynomials. I want to take a look at this same problem using sort of a horizontal method. So this problem is right now laid out in sort of a horizontal way, and if you're adding 2 polynomials using this strategy, what you want to look for are like terms. And like terms are terms that have the same variables raised to the same powers. So for example, I have a 4x squared and a 3x squared, and those are like terms because they both are terms with x squared. So those two terms are going to get added together. So I'm going to look through the rest of this for any other like terms. Well, there are no other x to the thirds, so that is just going to stay 2x to the third. When those two get combined, we have plus 7x squared, and we have this 4x and this plus 1. Those didn't get combined anywhere, so we added those together and we got the same polynomial. I want to take a quick look at subtracting two polynomials. And it's going to be similar, but it's going to be just a little bit different. Alright, so here's the example I want to take a look at. 2x squared plus 3x minus 7 minus 4x squared minus 2x plus 1. So the difference here is instead of having an addition sign, here we have a subtraction sign. So I'm taking this polynomial and subtracting from it this polynomial. Well, we can do that using the vertical method. So we have 2x squared plus 3x minus 7, and we're going to subtract 4x squared minus 2x plus 1. I'm going to put that in parentheses, just to remind me that we are subtracting each part. So 2x squared minus 4x squared is negative 2x squared. 3x minus negative 2x is plus 5x, because we're subtracting a negative, just the same thing as adding the positive. And negative 7 minus positive 1 is minus 8. So we subtracted those two polynomials, and that is what we got. I want to take a look at the second strategy using the horizontal method. And what you should do here, if you're subtracting these in a horizontal way, is take this, kind of treat this like it's a negative 1 out here, and you're going to distribute that negative through to everything inside those parentheses, because this entire quantity is being subtracted, so we're subtracting each piece of it. So I'm going to take this first one and write it out just as it is, 2x squared plus 3x minus 7. I'm going to distribute through that negative, so minus 4x squared minus negative, so plus 2x minus 1. And then let's take a look and see where we have some like terms. So here I have a 2x squared and a minus 4x squared. Those need to be combined. Here I have a 3x and a 2x. Those need to be combined. And here I have a minus 7 and a minus 1. And those need to be combined. So we combine all those like terms. 2x squared and negative 4x squared is negative 2x squared. 3x and 2x will be plus 5x. And minus 7 and minus 1 will give us minus 8. And there we have our new polynomial.